Good afternoon. Today we are going to look at gerunds and infinitives, and we will specifically look at verbs that accept both. Before we start, let's talk about what gerunds and infinitives are. So, what are they? Gerunds and infinitives are verbs that have been changed into nouns. So, what is the form of a gerund? Well, the gerund has a verb plus ing form, and again, it functions as a noun. For example, I like studying. And what is the form of an infinitive? The infinitive has a to plus verb form and it functions as a noun. For example, I like to swim. Now let's look at the verbs. Some verbs accept both an infinitive and a gerund, and the sentence will have the same meaning. On the other hand, other verbs accept both the infinitive and the gerund, but the meaning of the sentence changes depending on which one is used. Let's look at the verbs that have the same meaning. As we mentioned, some verbs, such as begin, continue, hate, love, like, prefer, and start, can accept both an infinitive or a gerund without a change in meaning. For example, continue. I continue traveling. I continue to travel. Both sentences have the same meaning. Or prefer. I prefer touring. I prefer to tour. Again, both sentences have the same meaning. And like. I like driving. I like to drive. Again, both sentences have the same meaning. Now let's look at the sentences where the meaning changes. As we mentioned, some verbs can be followed by both an infinitive or a gerund, but the meaning of the sentence can change depending on which one is used. For these verbs, the function of the gerund is the action itself, whereas the function of the infinitive is for a purpose. These verbs are stop, remember, forget, regret, go on, and continue. Now let's look at some expanding examples for these verbs. Remember that for these verbs, the function of the gerund is the action itself, while the function of the infinitive is for a purpose. Let's look at stop with a gerund. He stopped calling. That is, he stopped the action itself. Meaning, he didn't call anymore. With an infinitive, he stopped to call her. That is, he stopped for the purpose. Meaning, he stopped first because he then called her. Now let's look at remember with a gerund. She remembered talking to him. That is, she remembered the action itself. Meaning, she had memories of the conversation. Now let's look at the infinitive. She remembered to talk to him. That is, she remembered for the purpose. Meaning, she remembered her plan to talk to him. Now let's look at forget with a gerund. She forgot visiting her mom. That is, she forgot the action itself. Meaning, she has no memory of visiting her mom. With an infinitive, she forgot to visit her mom. That is, she forgot for the purpose, meaning she forgot the plans with her mom. Now let's look at regret. With the gerund, I regret telling you that there was an accident. That is, I regret the action itself, meaning I feel bad that I told you. With an infinitive, I regret to tell you that there was an accident. That is, I regret the purpose. Meaning, I feel bad that I must tell you. Now let's look at go on with a gerund. She went on studying math. That is, she went on with the action itself. Meaning, she continued to study math. With an infinitive, she went on to study math. That is, she went on for the purpose, meaning after that she studied math. Please notice that go on with a gerund means to continue, whereas go on with an infinitive means a change of action. Now let's look at quit with a gerund. She quit working there. That is, she quit the action itself, meaning she didn't work there anymore. With an infinitive, she quit to work there. That is, she quit for the purpose, meaning she changed jobs. She quit one job and then she worked at another job. Now let's look at some 10-second practice questions. Okay, please choose a word that fits in the blank. First sentence. We traveled there many times. We love to Italy. We traveled there many times. We love to go to Italy. We love going to Italy. Here we can use both because love accepts both the gerund and an infinitive without any change in meaning. Next sentence. The two friends were very talkative in class. Their teacher said they must quit. Their teacher said they must quit talking. Here we use the gerund. That is, their teacher said they must quit the action itself. In other words, the teacher said they shouldn't talk. Next sentence. His wife was angry because he forgot the groceries. His wife was angry because he forgot to buy the groceries. That is, he forgot for the purpose. In other words, he didn't buy the groceries. Next. We like coffee. We like to drink coffee. We like drinking coffee. Here we can use both because like accepts both a gerund and an infinitive without a change in meaning. Next. It was very late, yet he went on. It was very late, yet he went on studying. Here we use the gerund because it was very late, yet he went on with the action itself. In other words, it was late, but he continued studying. Next. He was driving when his phone rang. He stopped the call. He was driving when his phone rang. He stopped to answer the call. That is, we use the infinitive because he stopped for the purpose, meaning he stopped the car and then answered the call. Next. They started every day. They started to swim every day. They started swimming every day. Remember that we can use start with no change in meaning with both an infinitive and a gerund. Next. He had many memories of her. He remembered her at the park. He had many memories of her. He remembered meeting her at the park. Here we use the gerund because he remembered the action itself. That is, he remembered their meeting. Now let's do a quick summary. Some verbs accept both an infinitive and a gerund, and both of these sentences will have the same meaning. The infinitive, for example, with an infinitive, I prefer to travel. With a gerund, I prefer traveling. I prefer to travel and I prefer traveling mean I like tours and adventure. Other verbs, on the other hand, accept both a gerund and an infinitive, but the function of the gerund is the action itself, while the function of the infinitive is for a purpose. For example, with an infinitive, he stopped to call her, meaning he stopped because he then called her. With a gerund, he stopped calling her, meaning he didn't call anymore. Well, that concludes this presentation. If you have any thoughts, questions, or concerns, please email me. And thank you so much for watching. And please have a wonderful rest of your day.